Bernie Flynn, Brian Travis, and Sheila Vicario are on the dais. Any comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda? Daryl. You always got to check with Daryl. All right, nothing. All right. We're going to move our action item number 4A to the top of the list because the person who's going to give the presentation has another meeting he has to attend. Please come forward.
Testing. Testing, testing. Hello, hello. Good evening, Council. My name's Mike Ellis with Pannoni Associates, Borough Engineer, and I'm going to give a quick overview of the resolution before you for an amendment, a revision to the Borough's Act 537 plan. So I'll just spend a couple minutes real quick just to provide an overview of what that is, and then I can talk quickly about what the project is and then take any questions, and I can get as detailed into the engineering as you would like or not like. So Act 537 is passed by state legislature that requires every municipality to have an official sewage facilities plan that dictates how you're going to provide safe wastewater disposal throughout your entire municipality. Whenever a new land development or even a subdivision comes in or is proposed, you have to amend, revise that Act 537 plan, and that's done through a sewage facilities planning module process, and that's what we're presenting tonight. So the process is that the applicant, so in this case 250 East Market Street developer, prepares the planning module and addresses, submits to the municipality, the borough, and it's then reviewed to identify if there's adequate capacity within the collection, conveyance, and treatment system to accommodate the additional flows. If there's not, we work towards a solution as to how to provide for the additional flows. And then, so I'll come back to that part of this, but it's procedurally, they then submit the document that is yay thick with plans and other forms and permit applications that gets reviewed by borough, the wastewater operator to sign off on capacity within the system. It goes to the Municipal Planning Commission for their review. So in this case, the Borough Planning Commission to sign off that it's that the development is consistent with subdivision and zoning ordinances. Gets submitted to the County Planning Commission, the County Health Department. Those reviews are still underway. We're awaiting their feedback still. Once all those reviews are in place and the planning module has been deemed acceptable, the operator is signed off on capacity, it's presented to the elected officials, so in this case, Borough Council, to pass a resolution to adopt the planning module as a revision to the Act 537 plan, because we're now signing off that the system can take on this additional flow. So that's what's presented before you tonight. Once the resolution is passed, full document is assembled by the applicant and then submitted to PADEP. PADEP then reviews it and hopefully provides an approval. Typically, that is a condition of approval of any subdivision and land development plan before it gets signed by the elected officials and before it gets recorded. So that's an overview of the process. Any questions on that before I move forward? Okay. I apologize if that was redundant, but wanted to at least provide us a background. So in the process of diving into that, we found that there are associated with the 250 East Market Street project, and then later as we looked into the 410 South High Street project, that there are existing pipes within the conveyance system, within the gravity pipes that are over capacity. And what that means is that the pipes are surcharging. That does not mean overflowing. It means that the pipes are full during peak wet weather conditions. All pipes, I will note, all pipes that we've analyzed have adequate capacity for normal daily flows. It's just the significant wet weather events that cause a little bit of some surcharging that builds up within the manholes. But there's no reported recurring events of overflows that are actually occurring out of manholes, but the fact that the pipes flow full is considered to be overcapacity by DEP's definitions. So we did a lot of analysis and studies. There's been survey and metering and hydraulic modeling to evaluate the existing condition, what the conditions look like once we add on the additional flow. So between those two developments, it's about 80,000 gallons a day, which represents about 9% increase of the existing flow that goes to the Goose Creek sewage treatment plant. And identified that there are several pipe runs, again, that are over capacity. So we evaluated a number of different alternatives to divert flows, put in pump stations, upgrade pipes, a variety of different things, and recommended a solution, most cost-effective solution that we feel can be implemented in the most timely manner, has the most reliability, provides the most additional capacity moving forward for future development, redevelopment that we may not even know about yet, and we feel is most viable to get approval by PADEP. And with that, what we're recommending, and this is what's proposed as part of the sewage facilities planning module, because we have to address this and commit to make the improvements in order to get DEP to sign off that there is adequate capacity, is upgrading several pipe runs on the interceptor that runs from along Maple and Fosnot alleys between Linden and Union Streets. It's proposed to happen in 2 phases. The first phase is proposed to be done prior to the connection of any new sewer from 250 East Market Street or 410 South High or any other potential developments that are upstream of that area. And that is to upgrade about 1,000 linear feet of pipe, the downstream section in between Linden and Lacey. That's the part that's most over capacity with the most surcharging within manholes. So we propose to upgrade that from 12-inch diameter pipe to 21-inch diameter pipe. That then provides about 3,000 EDUs of additional capacity beyond what's currently needed right now. So it would address, essentially like full build, whatever could happen in the future. We feel this would be a long-term ultimate solution. So that's proposed as part of phase 1, and that's what's committed to as part of the planning module and this resolution. Phase 2 then would be to upgrade the next approximately 1,000 linear feet of pipe upstream, and that's going up Maple and Fosnot from Lacey up to Union. And again, that's also 12-inch to 21-inch pipe. That's the blue pipes that are in the map that you're looking at. The red pipes are phase 1. The first page, by the way, is just overall borough. The second page is a zoomed in copy for ease of reference. The second phase then, so the first phase essentially addresses all the surcharging problems in those 4 pipes, which are the most significant locations, and it maintains everything else pretty much status quo, even after the 80,000 gallons per day of additional flow. So that's what's being presented, is that we're keeping things status quo for those pipes. We're not making the conditions any worse, even with this additional flow that's coming in from these 2 developments. Phase 2 would then be at a future time to upgrade the blue pipes in order to be able to accommodate additional flows beyond these 2 developments. At this point, that is not committed to as part of this planning module. We're just committing to the first phase. So the estimated cost of this is about $1.3 million. That includes both the construction and engineering and planning, so all in project cost. The schedule for this would be to, if approved by council, that the resolution would be submitted. The resolution will be before council next meeting. If approved, then the applicant would submit it to DEP. Figure a couple months for DEP to review and approve it, and we're looking probably at sometime like late summer that we could have DEP approval and then be in position to begin to implement the design for these improvements, with the expectation that would put us into 2025 for construction of the improvements, which we anticipate be in advance. That timing works out with the developers. What we anticipate the developer's schedule is, so that we're staying ahead of them to have these upgrades done before they're ready to make their connections. That's my overview, my quick overview of the project. Happy to go into any more detail, take any questions that you may have.
Mr. Travis?
Just what if the DEP kicks this back? Then what do we do? Like, what if they say that, well, you actually need to go upstream and and into the blue area instead of just the red.
Yeah, so we'll obviously would have to address that with them at this time. We have had we've had some initial discussions with them that give us the expectation that they are going to be trust amenable to this solution. We met with them about a year ago and presented the general concept of these upgrades to them. And even in going through that, they didn't seem terribly concerned about, they seemed receptive to the idea of maintaining sort of the existing condition, even with the new development. So that's basically what the baseline was for what we're presenting to them, is to stay consistent with the discussion we had with them last year. If they do come back with comments, obviously we would have to address them, and then more than likely that would mean coming back before Borough Council and revisiting, because obviously it's a substantial cost increase. That's another $1.1 million to continue upstream. So that would of course have to be revisited as part of the project approval.
Ms. Vaquero?
So the flow is indicated by the little arrows. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, that's
I
the
guess-
direction.
What is the diameter of most of is the diameter consistent in the rest of the borough? I'm assuming not, but
Yeah, it varies. So these pipes that we're proposing to upgrade are 12-inch diameter right now. As you go further downstream, so once you get down to Linden, it's like where you see manhole 237, if you're able to see, those pipes transition into, I believe it's a 18 or 24-inch diameter pipe. So they're significantly larger down there, which is why we don't have any issues once we
right.
get down
That
to that
was
area.
all really my question. Was
yeah.
to figure those. So
Yep.
thank you.
Yep. Yep. So, and then other pipes throughout the system, a lot of other pipes are 8 inches, but these 12 inches, given that they're on a main line that captures a lot of flow, are, have come to be undersized.
Thank you.
Mr. Ellis, I have just a couple of questions for you. You mentioned in the beginning of your presentation that every time a new development is planned or ready to go, the developer or the borough has to revisit the Act 537. So a new set of plans have to come up every time a multifamily building is going to be built. Like we have 4 of them getting ready to start right now.
Yes.
So is it redundant to do it 4 times? Or what, it just seems we should know what's going on based on where the buildings are being built.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have been looking at that and coordinating with borough staff on that on every application that's been coming in. So even if it's just a 1-lot subdivision, we've been looking at that as well, just to see if that was going to present an issue for one house. So,
on Market Street outside of same system, same demand that we met with our improvements that we're making. So we didn't want to have to come back to council in 10 years and say, sorry, we're going to dig up the streets again and invest another $2 million. But do you have off the top of your head the EDU?
yes, by upgrading to 21 inches, it was something on the order of like creating like 3,000 additional EDUs in the future. So,
What's an EU?
oh, sorry. An equivalent dwelling unit, which is like one house. So that's 200 gallons per day.
Okay,
So what am I doing? That's 6 million gallons per day.
right.
Yeah. So just to put that in perspective, the existing plant, the average flow is 900,000 gallons. We're talking about creating capacity for millions of additional gallons beyond.
And my second question is, looking at this map,
Yes.
how big is the clean out going to be at Lacey and Magnolia? Because I see a gigantic backup right there. Right angles are never good in pipes. And hopefully they're not right angles, because at Lacey, you're going to get, it's almost like Goose Creek. You're going to get a whack right there. Then you're going to get a whack at Magnolia where you can't get the sludge around. Is there a manhole down there that it's big enough that clean that out?
Yeah, so it's actually not uncommon. I mean, as you can see from the rest of the pipes on here, everywhere there's an intersection, we have that condition. So the channel gets built into the manhole in a way that allows the flow to go through that ends up not being a hard 90-degree turn.
I was worried
So-
about 90-degree, there, because then Don Anderson has to put waders on.
Right. So yeah. So it basically has like a sweep turn is the way that the channel inside of the manhole. There's a like flume, if you will, in the bottom of it, and that gets built in a way that
Yeah,
it easily
yeah,
conveys the flow. There's so much flow that's coming down through here that nothing's getting
It's
hung
going to
up.
rush. You can
Yes.
tell, going from
Yeah.
12 to 21, it's going
Yes.
to rush.
Yeah. So even yes, right. And there's certain things we look at like velocities. We have to maintain 2 feet per second. That's considered self-cleansing velocity to keep all the solids moving. We have that. That's not an issue at all. So yeah, no concerns. The idea is just to put back the pipes exactly where they are right now. That minimizes the risk of utility impacts. It means we have to be careful with how we maintain flow while the project is going on, but we're just disturbing earth that's already been dug up. So that's the most effective.
Well, Linden Street, right, where it's all going to dump into?
Yes.
What do we have planned there? Something big, like a cistern?
So all we would be doing is more than likely, we haven't designed it yet, but we would be replacing the manhole that's there right now and then just putting in a bigger opening to handle the bigger pipe coming into it. The pipes that are down there right now are already much larger, 24 inches. So those pipes already have the capacity to handle it. We just need to get them into a new manhole that can accommodate our new 21-inch pipe. So it would just be a larger, actually, it would be a normal sized manhole would still be able to.
Are they terracotta down there
The existing?
at Linden? Or are they plastic?
I do not think they're plastic. I
Okay.
believe they're an older terracotta,
Terracotta,
or
okay. All right.
or transite.
It's okay. I was just worried about the right angles.
Yeah, so again, it's common and it'll be addressed within the manholes. To your prior question, we are looking at as it relates to looking at like global planning for the system. We are reviewing these modules or applications every time they come in now for a new development. So a couple of the other projects that are proposed right now are in the Taylor Run system. We've done a similar analysis for that, and that has capacity. So that's why when we're not, we may end up getting to the point of passing, needing resolutions for some of those, but it's not going to involve any capacity increases. It's just a sign off that yes, this new development is tying into the sewer system. No upgrades are needed. So we have been looking at that closely too, including other developments within the Goose Creek system. So for example, there was a small development on Matlack south of Linden that ties in directly into the 24-inch pipe. There's no capacity issues, so that we don't have to address as part of this project. So depending on where developments are in the system right now, we're looking at it every single one closely to see if this project problem impacts them or not.
Yeah, right across the street here, there's going to be a plan to tear everything down over there and put a 5-story apartment building in there. Well, with the plan that we have presented, that'll be able to handle the capacity of 100 apartments.
Yes, yeah. So that would require phase 2 be implemented.
Okay.
So right now, phase 1 is proposed to handle 410 South High and 250 East Market.
Right.
Anything beyond that is going to require phase 2 be upgraded. So essentially, we would have to come back before you and ask for this, go through the same process to
Okay.
upgrade the blue sewers.
Does developers contribute to it? Or is this all in the borough?
Defer to Sean.
No, the developers are contributing tap-in fees that are valued at anywhere from 5,000 per EDU up or 2,300 per EDU, depending on when they came in, because we increased the sewer tap fee. I could give those numbers to you by development in a neat spreadsheet. I wasn't able to bring it up right now before the meeting, but
I think that would be really helpful just to
Yeah.
understand what our offset is on these costs.
yeah, the cost has me concerned because what we did with our budget for wastewater, which is something I want to do with all our capital planning, is we budgeted a 5-year average of expenditures and a 5-year average of capital revenue. So our 5-year average expenditures is about $989,000. If we do phase 1, we're going to spend more than $989,000 in year 1. So it creates a cash flow issue. I'm not going to suggest greenlighting the project until we get money either from a tap-in fee or from the local share account grant that we apply for that we should hear about in the next 8 weeks. Local share is the gambling revenue that local municipalities can tap into.
Gambling revenue, we applied for it, like, here's the money if you want to apply for it. We did. Mr. Williams did a great job with that. Hopefully
We don't
can-
have enough
Yeah,
budgeted capital dollars to do this and all of other capital projects. We need some of these projects to come in and pay their tap fees, or we need the grant to come in to supplement. If we get one or other of those things to happen, then I would like to greenlight this project, because even if we greenlighted this project at the same time Rubenstein started construction, we could finish the wastewater upgrade before they could before they could tap in. And we could put things in the developer agreement that say, and I'm getting ahead of myself because they haven't even submitted final plans yet, that they couldn't tap in until this upgrade was made. But I'm confident, talking to our engineering team, that we can get the project done before the developer can build the 5-story development.
thank you, Mr. Messer. Good catch here, Mr. Travis. To see exactly what our net zero is on the fees.
Well, we're
Well,
continuing to keep our eyes out, as we do for all of our municipalities, for other grants. So things like Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Small Water and Sewer Program that usually comes out annually for up to $500,000. There's other programs, so we're keeping a constant eye out for anything that this could be applicable to pursue.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Any more questions, council?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
You're
you. We're going to jump back into our discussion items. Borough engineer's not going to be available. So, yes. 3-0. Yeah. Apologize. The borough engineer and traffic engineer is not going to be available. So we're going to jump into Public Works. Mr. Edwards, please.
Good evening. Some highlights since we last met are, we met with the wastewater department to discuss an infiltration inflow abatement program. Infiltration inflow is groundwater and stormwater that gets into our sanitary sewers, which can be costly. And as you just learned, it can take up capacity that could be better used for developments. So we're starting that process, that program. Our tree contractor began trimming trees in the downtown business district as part of a plan to make improvements in that area. We met with West Goshen Township to discuss flooding near Montgomery Avenue. The township is planning to apply for a grant to replace the culverts under Gay Street to increase hydraulic capacity. The township should only be asking the borough for a letter of support. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Vaquero, Mr. Travis.
No questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edwards. Wastewater. The director, Mr. Sean Mitchell.
Good evening. We'll keep mine quick too. Both plants did a bunch of work this month. They've replaced a couple pumps. They found one of our large drives had a missing piece that we can't find, so we had it fabricated real quick and a new one installed. That was still a mystery of where it went. Taylor Run or Goose Creek's average flow for the month with the rain was 1.066 million gallons per day. Taylor Run was close behind with 1.041. We did a lot of painting inside during the rain to keep busy and everything. They went over all the lawn equipment for the season, getting that up and ready. Both plants had the meadow to lawn to meadow grass kill done, so they're waiting for a time to make sure that it doesn't grow back. They're going to spray it again to do a double kill. And then probably in July, if I remember correctly, they'll plant the pollinated fields. And then that'll be going. I'd like to thank the IT department. They did a great job with getting us new equipment for upgrading both plants and getting Cartograph in with the asset management. We actually even turned our control room into a training and meeting room where now we can have large meetings and bulk training. As a test tomorrow, Billy's doing our cybersecurity. So we had that installed all in-house and by Jeff and Billy. As Don stated, we started the I&I program. We're going to really start ramping that up and checking into all the collection system. We're working with the 611 East Neal Street for a industrial pretreatment permit for when they do go to construction, any water that they hit, groundwater that they hit, they have to treat since it's a brownfield. We'll be issuing them a permit to discharge to Goose Creek. Taylor Run's NPDES permit was finalized. That goes into effect May 1st. Goose Creek's NPDES permit is being submitted this week, and we will probably start negotiations July. That'll last a little bit, and then we'll go through the preliminaries, and probably by the end of the year have a permit.
Any questions, Mr. Travis? Ms. Vaquero? Question I have here, but it slipped my mind. The third-party dumping that indoor pipe
Yep,
at Snyder Avenue,
McGovern,
it's just McGovern's doing it now?
just McGovern.
Okay, how we doing with capacity that he's dumping in there? Is he increasing or decreasing? What's going on?
They supplemented, the original deal was they would supplement flow and revenue for the borough when Wyeth left. Goose Creek was built as an industrial high-strength plant for Wyeth for high BOD and ammonia. Once they left, then we're just residential. So you have a mega plant going off industrial or residential sewage. So we use them as a extra flow, extra strength. As we build, we can say, okay, we're going to back you off on the amount of gallons that you're allowed. So the residents have the priority for the flow. So it'll be.
Are we close to that at all? Or should we be advertising to other,
We used to, years ago, had multiple, and we ran into problems with, did somebody dump something, a slug, bad stuff. We had plant upsets, and then it was always, you pointed to him, he pointed to you. I didn't do it, we didn't do it. So we actually just put it in that it's one and done.
okay, thank you. And no, any other questions? There's a pipe in Snyder Avenue in where the Public Works dump yard is, that you'll see a guy go in there and he'll sit there for,
And we actually do have a contract with
Yeah,
them to
he sits
do
there,
it.
pumps his trucks. And Bill McGovern's a first-class operation. They do a first-class job.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Mitchell. Parks and Recreation. Keith, before you do your presentation, I was informed that we're very close to having the Clydesdales come
Oh,
to the borough. We're waiting to hear from Anheuser-Busch, one of our local,
Pen distribution?
probably.
Okay.
One of our local bars reached out and asked whether we wanted it or not. And so we're just remember we talked about the permit?
We've done
Yeah,
it
so
before.
we're waiting to see, hopefully this week we'll hear if, a date. So,
We can
pretty
make that
excited.
happen.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Certainly. Keith Karowski, Director of Parks and Recreation. March was a relatively quiet month. You can see the report. I'll touch on a couple key pieces quickly. Thanks to the program coordinator, Isabella Ryan. In my absence, I was on vacation visiting family in Pittsburgh. She took care of our Easter egg hunt, annual Easter egg hunt, which was usually a really big event that takes place at Everhart Park. And unfortunately, Mother Nature, for the second year in a row, said, no, you're not going to do it at a park this year. So it was done right here in this room. We didn't get quite as many people as we'd like to, but still pulled off the event pretty much without a hitch. A big thanks to Fulton Bank. They donated $150 in gold coins for the kids to find in the eggs. We had 6,000 eggs. We gave away probably about 5,500. So the kids that did come got a whole lot more eggs than they would have normally gotten, but everyone that came had a good time. Also, while I was gone, we ran our first bus trip in like 4 or 5 years down to DC for the Cherry Blossom Festival. Again, I'd like to say it went off without a hitch. No fault of our own, but the DC Scoot bus, the transit bus that takes you around the mall area to the different attractions, had an issue.
So some of our people got a little stranded. We brought everyone back with us. Everything was cool. Just got back a little later than we anticipated. The bus was completely sold out, so the trip did wind up making a profit. The only little minor issue, we had a young man get a little sick on the way home. Craft buses took care of that issue. That wasn't on us either. Two of the things I want to touch on quick, actually three things. I think I mentioned this before. I think it was in the Public Works meeting last month. Our digital locks that we had put on our park restrooms a couple of years back during the pandemic. We're not sure how a homeless person got into the one at Marshall Square Park, whether they propped the door open like the last day of closing, or they somehow figured out the digital code, which is at least a minimum 4-digit code that you got to figure out. I went around today and met with some of the guys from Public Works to meet with the gentleman who installed the locks to rechange all the locks around. So hopefully we won't run into that issue again. They are very well-designed locks that are used in all kinds of institutions around the country. What can I say? Dude just got lucky and found the code, but unfortunately for us, we have to clean up that mess. There is going to be a project coming up over at Hoops Park, minor project, the 2 kiosks, one at the pavilion and one at the tennis courts. The Friends of Hoops Park and myself are working with 2 Eagle Scouts. They're basically going to renovate the current kiosks that are there. Nothing major, pretty much as built, same location. The only change is that the one kiosk by the pavilion is going to be about a foot shorter so that younger people can see what's in there. No big deal. And then just, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, of course, 225 parade is coming up on the 21st. Please tell everyone, tell one and all, the mayor, myself, the 225 committee are hard at work getting this bad boy pulled off. We did have short time in getting it together, but I think it's going to be a wonderful parade as long as Mother Nature gives us a really nice day, which she's going to. We've spoken, and it'll be taken care of. Parade itself starts at 1 o'clock. The streets will be shut down approximately around 10 a.m. For us to line up the parade participants in the staging area on Market Street. Like I've said before, it's the Halloween parade. We're just changing to 225. Same route, same, or a little different of the parade with the parade itself in the people that are going to be in it, but it's going to be pretty much the same route. So please tell everyone to come on out. The one other thing that I had, and now it's eluding me. Oh, poles for the netting at Hoops Park are going to be dug tomorrow so they can get the poles in the ground to put up the netting. Obviously, over the last couple of weeks, we have not had the best weather. They're working diligently to get this done before the season. And again, I will repeat that no one is playing on that field until that netting is up. They are fully aware of this. So tomorrow, they're going to get the poles in the ground to hang the netting shortly thereafter. That'll be up before the first pitch is tossed for any practice or game. Any questions for me?
Mr. Vaquera, Mr. Travis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Under discussion items, number B, pollution reduction plan. Who's going to visit us? Mr. Metrick.
Good evening. I'm here simply tonight to set the table for a larger discussion that'll happen next month about the pollution reduction plan for Goose Creek. There's a couple of handouts I gave each of the members of the committee, but I want to draw your attention to this first handout here that shows the Goose Creek watershed in its totality, as well as the surrounding municipalities. I think this is an interesting place to start the conversation, to point out that Westchester Borough is a giver and receiver of stormwater to West Goshen Township. So whenever we have these conversations, we should be thinking regionally about stormwater management and having conversations with West Goshen Township about practices we're doing and practices they're doing on both sides of the border to make this work. The Goose Creek watershed is part of Chester Creek, and which empties in the city of Chester. And the portion of it that's in the borough is only about 250 acres, if you can believe that. That's about the size of a 18-hole golf course, more or less. So not a large area of the borough is covered by Goose Creek. The rest is covered by the Brandywine Creek watershed, which is governed by a different plan. The plan in general is a list of improvements you're going to do, the borough, to address stormwater quality issues from runoff from developed surfaces. Most of the borough is developed surfaces. So when it rains, the water goes down the drain and it takes with it certain pollutants that come off the pavement. mostly in the form of suspended solids, dirt, essentially. And they can quantify this and they count it up and they say, you have this budget of dirt that you're throwing in the water every time it rains, Borough. You got to reduce that budget by 10% in the next 5 years. And they say this to every municipality in the Commonwealth. It's really hard for places like Westchester Borough to do something about it because our landscape is developed. And anytime you do even a small stormwater project, you're spending, the conversation starts at $250,000 for very little benefit. But it's what we've been told to do by the state. It's an unfunded mandate. And this council and this borough had the courage to set up a stormwater fee to help fund this programming and plan. And we've done a lot of good work since that was put in place. And I just want to highlight what things were in the last plan. That included 3 stormwater projects in the last plan at John O'Green Park, the Borough Building, and Greenview Alley project, which morphed over the years between us, the borough, coming up with a concept plan and actually putting it in ground. The thing we actually finally built down at Greenview Park, it looks a little different than what we had intended to do where we started out. But those 3 projects together with street sweeping only account for 1/3 of what we were supposed to have done in the last 5 years. There was a project in the last plan that said we were going to restore the stream bank behind Cedar Alley, which is, if you know where that is, we could probably walk over there in 5 minutes. It's a little dark now. We wouldn't go over there now, but I don't think that was a well-conceived project because to do proper stream bank restoration like we're doing over on Taylor Run behind that project on Hannum Avenue, you have to build back from the top of the bank a certain width and plant that with native trees and shrubs to restore a natural functioning stream bank. And to do that on Cedar Alley, we would have had to acquire lots of private land from multiple owners to make that happen. So I don't know if that was a really, really great idea or people put that in the plan just because you get a lot of credit for saying you're going to do that, but we didn't do that. So that's all just to say that this, I really, you hired a planner to be your borough manager. So I care a lot about these visions and ideas for the future. And I try to get involved in these projects as much as I can, as much as my schedule allows. And I want to make sure that the projects that we're picking are, we're actually going to do them. They make sense, they address the problem, they meet the plan, and they're equitably distributed. And that's what this second map is about. When Kelly comes here next month, she's going to describe to you what each one of these dots mean and why we put them where we put them. They each resemble, they're mostly going to be intersection improvements. That's where we find the most opportunity or in urban areas. The biggest asset we own in terms of square feet in the borough is our roads. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. So if you're talking about what we own and maintain, you're talking about roads, and roads are a terrible generator of stormwater runoff. You think about all the dirt and particulates that come off of cars and pollutants that go into our storm systems. So the idea is to use that last 20 to 25 feet between the intersection and where you can't park a car today because it's illegal to, and to create small bump outs at each of those intersections and pay attention to turning radii so we can still get cars to move around those intersections and emergency vehicles to move around those intersections, but to basically have a cookie cutter or template of improvements that we want to make at intersections. And that's why the dots go down Matlack Street that way. That was our vision. We'd be doing the similar same improvements down Matlack Street. We thought there might be a economy of scale when we put it out to bid to say, hey, bidder, can you do 7 of these instead of 2 of them? Would we have any cost savings there? But I'm going to save the rest of that conversation for next month with Kelly to go over with you what all these dots add up to give you an opportunity to move the dots, comment on the dots. And there is a part of getting the pollution reduction plan approved and through council and out in the wild and enacted is a public process. And we're just starting that right now by this short conversation I'm having with the committee. But I'm really looking forward to getting a good plan in place that we can follow and that it's congruent with a lot of our other borough goals. And I'm happy to talk a little more generally about what this planning process is, but I just wanted to give you a little appetizer for what's coming next.
Yeah.
Your street, isn't it? You live on Matlack? Oh, I thought you lived on Matlack. I was like, Walnut, okay.
But want to, there's a lot to be improved down this street.
Yeah.
In terms of just general vegetation. If it has a profound impact on the watershed, I think this is a good at least beginning of the discussion to have. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Ms. Vacaria?
So we're talking about bump outs with gardens.
Mhm.
Living near bump outs with gardens. They can be beautiful. They can be very helpful. They can also be an eyesore. And I just want to make sure that in our plan for Matlack Street, because it's Matlack Street and sections of that street are not well maintained, I want to make sure that we are 100% behind maintaining these. That's all.
So Mr. Metro, you're talking about putting vegetation in these bump outs?
Yeah,
on
that's the
Matlack
most-
Street? Okay.
That's the most cost effective.
Yeah, it's
BMP.
gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, to see if they're in the third floor apartment. Yeah. Did we get any credits for Marshall Street or College Avenue, that bank improvements that we did in both those places to go into our pot?
Oh, the stream bank armoring that we
Yeah,
did on Plum
we
Run.
did that
and
College
Taylor.
Avenue, yeah. and
No,
then
you don't get any
Marshall
credit.
Street.
There's no benefit to stormwater quality by doing this. Nope,
Oh, okay.
zero.
So I thought maybe all the silt would fall from the bank into the creek. No, we get credit for that.
We don't.
All right. It's all right.
That's DEP's call.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I think
Thank you.
this is a really good thing as
Yeah.
long as we can stand behind it.
Yeah.
I agree. You're absolutely right. The most important, why build it if you're not going to take care of it?
Exactly. Well, we did in public works, we do have some stuff approved for the rain gardens, right? For 2024 vegetation repairs and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have a maintenance agreement, I believe with the same company we used last year, which we were really happy with.
Yeah. All right, good.
But
Thank you.
the bump outs down by me are maintained by the green team.
We have an adopt a bump out program that's done really well in certain spots. And I
It's-
like that
It's
idea.
done really beautifully, but like it takes some serious organization to get that
Yeah.
going.
And Nathaniel does a great job down in
Yes,
the area.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like part of his yard. Does such a great job.
And I think there's probably more utilitarian designs we could employ that are easier to maintain. Just fill it up with switchgrass and get in there and get the trash out, cut it down in the spring. Around this time of year, you would cut it back hard. And that would be perfectly fine, beautiful planting that would tolerate all these conditions.
Yeah, when the trees are growing, the children or the students aren't here. So like from May until August, they're not here. So they have a good chance of survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some planting designs that are a little overzealous in my opinion, in terms of these aren't gardens, they're getting flooded every
Right.
time it rains.
The ones down by me are beautiful. They're gardens. They are,
Impressive.
you have to be on these gardens
Yeah.
and in order to maintain them. I just want to make sure that whatever we're doing here, you don't have Nathaniel. He's not there. And
So our maintenance allocation of time, labor, and dollars is going to grow as our stormwater infrastructure grows. Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Be a nice rain garden at Potter Alley and West Minor Street. Thank you very much. B, motion to approve March Public Works Committee meeting minutes. Any issues?
Approved.
No issues.
No issues at all, 3-0. Any other business?
I have one
Oh,
question.
Thank you,
And this-
Mr. Travis.
I have one question. I think this was maybe related to a meeting that I missed because I was out of town the last time we had this meeting, about the culvert that goes under 202. We've been talking a lot about Goose Creek tonight, so I believe that could you just maybe refresh us or tell us about potentially a plan that would help alleviate some of the flooding that's being caused by this?
First, explain where it is and, what.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the Goose Creek that's within the borough, and then it flows downstream, and then it hits 202. Prior to getting this recent FEMA flood map, we didn't have anything. We didn't really know where the bottleneck was. I had told the committee last year that it's downstream, and but we didn't know exactly where it was. So when we got this updated FEMA map, it really made things clear. It actually told a good news story, because first it showed that the culvert at 202 is about 40 feet lower than Goose Creek on Franklin Avenue and Niels and all that. So there's a lot of elevation difference there. And then the flood map also showed that there would be no flooding of our roads, which is not our experience right now. We're getting bad flooding there. So this is the first time, and this is, I told Ian Carroll and Sue Bain this is the first time I see real hope that we can fix this problem. And I think what we have to do is we have to restore the creek to the way it was when they did that flood study probably 40 years ago. When they do a flood study, they take the channel, stream the bottom and stream bank, and that's how they draw that flood line that I provided to you. Okay. Well, over time, they get smaller and smaller, and next thing you know, it backs up the water, which is what we're seeing right now. So I haven't had an in-depth conversation with Sean about it, but I strongly recommend that we start planning for a project to restore it so we can stop the flooding, because I think it's very doable. At one point, I thought it was going to be incredibly expensive. I thought we were going to have to go like 5 miles downstream or something and not get cooperation from other municipalities. But as Sean just mentioned, I mean, we get receiving water from West Goshen, and we also, we give them water. So I think if we collaborate with them, and I feel very optimistic that we can fix this flooding problem now.
And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because of what Sean just presented with trying to eliminate the amount of sediment, dirt, oil, road debris that's moving downstream.
Right.
Is it potentially just a matter of dredging, like cleaning out the culvert or whatever, wherever the stoppage is?
Right. I mean, in an ideal world, I would call up DEP and I would say, hey, look, all we're doing is restoring what was already there. We don't need any permit. We just want to go out there and do this. And they would say, nice try. I'm pretty sure that's how it would play out. But that's really all I think we want to do, is like, channel width used to be like this. We want to bring it back to where it was, so that we don't flood back here in Westchester Borough.
What's the timing on a plan for this?
Gonna need time, gonna need money.
Yeah.
You're not going to need nearly as much money as I thought we were going to need. But I would imagine probably be a study. Somebody's going to have to look at that computer model that was the basis for that profile that I showed to you. And so there'd be some engineering work there, and then from there, we'd have to budget a certain amount of money, for improvements. I would imagine we'd pursue grants to help pay for this. We'd have a design engineer actually, do sections of how the creek should look so that so that it's adequate for carrying the water, as opposed to what's near Franklin and where that structure's like in the floodplain, where our Goose Creek is more like a goose ditch. I mean, it's so small, it's ridiculous. So, but yeah, we would need an engineer to like put some plans together, put it out for bid. And so timing wise, I would say nothing before 2 years, probably 2 to 5 years. And again, I haven't talked to Sean about the details, but strongly recommend that we head in that direction.
The flooding on 202, I'm puzzled where that is.
It's not flooding at 202.
Oh, okay.
It's where I don't know if it's a culvert or a bridge, but where.
Is
the
it
water-
Linden Street?
What's that?
Is it Linden?
No, well, I mean, 202 is a mile down. Actually, it's like 4,000 feet.
Okay,
About 4,000 feet downstream from Nields.
from Nields, okay.
About 4,000 feet, and it's 40 feet lower than Franklin Street.
Then we shouldn't have any flooding because it's going to dump into it, right? Gravity?
Right. If the problem is that now our ditch
Okay,
creeks
got
like
it.
this, and now we
Got
need
it.
to make it.
Okay.
better.
Makes sense, okay. But that would, most of that would be in West Goshen.
Well, actually, with the Public Works yard,
Yeah,
which is in West Goshen,
yeah,
and then
Snyder
then-
Avenue, yeah,
Goose Creek plant,
yeah.
which is in West Goshen apparently. So, yeah, I mean, we got borough property. There's a few private property, but there's something called a de facto easement that I learned a long time ago. And basically, even if there isn't an easement right now for that creek, if there's a problem in that creek and it's causing a real problem, we still are going to go in there and fix it. You know what I mean? So I think we'll be able to work something out with the private property owners.
They should be happy.
Plus, it's in their benefit, right?
Yeah, they should be happy for it. Thank you. Mr. Travis, good?
Yeah, thanks. You answered the questions. Appreciate it.
All right. That was the other business. The agenda is closed for the evening. Thank you.